Hello everyone, welcome to this video discussion. Our topic in this video is Introduction to Discourse and Discourse Analysis. For most of you, I believe that you have had already encountered this term, discourse. But what is really discourse? Maybe some of you already have some ideas when we talk about discourse or perhaps discourse analysis. But in this video discussion, allow me to discuss comprehensively what discourse is and how discourse analysis is done. Although this one is an introductory course, this will help you have a glimpse of how discourse analysis is conducted, as certain approaches will be partially discussed in this video discussion. Imagine the world of language research. What aspects have to be explored? If we are to answer this question, definitely, we can say that there are a lot of aspects in the world of language research that can be explored. And one of these aspects is discourse. While others would say that discourse has been an overly explored field of linguistics already, I should say that discourse is actually one of the most interesting aspects of linguistics because it introduces us to other fields and subfields in the field of linguistics. So let's discuss first what discourse analysis is. Discourse analysis is a rapidly growing and evolving field, and this can be manifested in various research works conducted not only in the country, but also across the globe. Current research in this field now flows from numerous academic disciplines that are very different from one another. As a matter of fact, when we talk about discourse analysis, the analysis may focus in different types or contexts of discourses. That is why we have the so-called institutional discourses and other forms of discourses which are analyzed in the field of linguistics. Included, of course, are the disciplines in which models for understanding and methods for analyzing discourse first developed, such as linguistics, anthropology, and philosophy. If you notice, linguistics, anthropology, and philosophy, these three fields are commonly used or observed in discourse analysis. Of course, in the study of linguistics, we deal with the study of language. So that's primarily the concern of discourse analysis. But when we would like to study about the sociological background of the discourses or the context, sociocultural context, then we might as well include anthropology. And the logic behind these discourses may be best discussed by philosophy. Now, these different perspectives or fields will help us fully understand how discourse analysis is conducted and is appreciated by most linguistic researchers. But also included, aside from those mentioned, are disciplines that have applied and thus often extended such models and methods to problems within their own academic domains, such as communication, because in discourse, we also engage communication, how people interact, how people deliver discourses from one another. And then it also involves cognitive psychology, because you also need to consider the cognitive makeup of that person, why that person was able to release or utter such a discourse. It may also involve social psychology and, of course, artificial intelligence. So abundant are definitions of discourse. As a matter of fact, many researchers, philosophers, and linguists have offered definitions for discourse and discourse analysis. In fact, many linguistics books on the subject are now open with a survey of definitions. In their collection of classic papers in discourse analysis, for example, the authors Jaworski and Kuland included 10 definitions from a wide range of sources. This is an evidence enough to say that there is really a great inventory of definitions when we talk about discourse analysis. They all, however, fall into the three main categories. First one is that when we talk about discourse analysis, it may involve anything beyond the sentence. Second one, it involves language use. And third one, it includes a broader range of social practice that includes non-linguistic and non-specific instances of language. Because when we talk about discourse analysis, you also need to consider the culture of the person or the discourse maker. So what is it all about? Discourse and discourse analysis lean to use the analysis of language to solve real-life problems at work, at school, and home. For example, if you are a government employee and you would like to analyze the language or discourses used by the politicians or the language used in various legal documents, then it may be an example of how applicable discourse is in the workplace. Another one is if you are an educator or a teacher and you wish to analyze the discourses used by your students inside the classroom. It involves classroom discourse, and this is a perfect example for discourse at the school setting. And we could also use the discourses that we usually use at home. When we talk about discourse and discourse analysis, it involves both theory and practical application. Why? Because you need to have good foundations, the rigors of discourse analysis, the theoretical foundations in order for you to lay down very well your analysis so that you will create a more meaningful or substantial discussion of your discourse analysis. On one hand, you also need practical application because you will have to use the frameworks and the models discussed by previous theorists or philosophers in your own discourse analysis. So let's delve more into the discussion of this D word or the discourse word. Discourse is language above the sentence level or above the clause. That's according to Stubbs in 1998. So when we talk about discourse, it involves not only the text itself. It goes beyond than what you actually see in the text. That means you need to scrutinize well the text so that you can really understand what it means or what it tries to portray or manifest towards the hearer. It is also the study of discourse is the study of any aspect of language use. When you say discourse analysis, it involves all aspects of the discourse itself. The semantics, both verbal and non-verbal as well. So you also have to look at the 360-degree image of the discourse so that you will really be able to get what the discourse truly means. The analysis of discourse is the analysis of language in use. So you are to analyze the language being used in a specific context. It cannot be restricted to the description of linguistic forms independent of the purposes or functions that they serve in human affairs. So when you do discourse analysis, you should not be limited in what you only see in the text. You also have to make sure that you delve deeper into it so that you can really unravel the true meaning of the text. In that case, you have to know not only the semantics, but also the pragmatics of the text. Discourse is more than just language in use. It is language use, actually, whether speech or writing, seen as a type of a social practice. It's a social practice because discourse may also involve power relations. It may involve ideologies. That's why it has become a social practice. Discourse could also be an index of one's culture, right? Or sets of beliefs and principles. And Fairclough in 1992 also adds that discourse constitutes the social. Discourse is shaped by relations of power and invested with ideologies. So, for example, when you analyze certain discourses used in advertisements or discourses used by a national president, and if you look at these discourses, you can also unravel different types of ideologies. So, if you really want to understand what these discourses are, you might be able to use these ideologies and power relations, these things, as your springboard in understanding the discourse in the background of these discourses. We also have this big D and little d. Discourse, which is with a capital D, is non-count, and you also have discourses with a small d, which is pertaining to the certain discourses used in different professions. Saying, doing, thinking, behaving, believing, valuing, interacting combinations that show who we are. Okay, for example, the discourse of medicine and the discourse of romance. Okay, so in different contexts, in different social uses, there are also specific discourses used. Okay, these are the discourses with a small letter D. But when we talk about the discourse with a capital D, it pertains to the approach that we use in analyzing these discourses. Discourse is how language reflects reality. It may also talk about how language creates reality and how language shapes our identities and interactions. Remember, what we say sometimes is a reflection of who we are as a person. It is also how language is used as a tool to control people, most especially if ideologies have been induced already in your discourse. So there's a tendency that it will really control the mentality of the hearers or the readers. Meaning depends on how, okay? How it is said, how it is delivered, the discourses, or where the discourse is delivered based on the context, the community, or when, the specific temporal element, when was that specifically mentioned or uttered or written, or to whom is it addressed, and why. You might want to consider also the reason, the purpose why that discourse is uttered or written by the discourse maker. You also need to remember the P word, okay, which is also a vital word when we talk about discourse and discourse analysis, and that is pragmatics. The term pragmatics comes from the Greek word pragma, which means need, how we do things with words, okay, or how we use words in certain contexts. The study of meaning in different contexts of use, that's pragmatics, and how language is used to do things in real-world situations. And when we talk about pragmatics, usually we also deal with speech act theory and conversational logic. So there are different approaches that we can use when we talk about discourse analysis, and these are some of the following. So we can use multimodal discourse analysis. So when you say multimodal discourse analysis, that involves the analysis of discourses found in multimodal texts. And when you say multimodal texts, these involve texts with different semiotic systems. Let's say we have here a poster. A poster contains text, captions, colors, pictures, images. That's an example of a multimodal discourse. So you can analyze that one using discourse analysis. Another one is when we talk about ideologies and power. If you want to unravel the power involved in the discourses, you can conduct a critical discourse analysis. Okay? And if your concern is in analyzing conversations, you can use conversation analysis, focusing more on the patterns of conversations, the turn-taking patterns, the responses, and other feelers used when responding, okay, the strategies. And then you can also use pragmatics, the certain use of words or utterances in specific contexts. You can also have genre analysis. For example, if you are to analyze abstracts or acknowledgments of research works, that could be under the concern of genre analysis. You could also have mediated discourse analysis. Okay, let's say computer-mediated discourse analysis. So if you are to analyze languages or discourses used in virtual commons or online platforms, that could also be analyzed using discourse analysis. Or if your primary concern here is to look at the characteristics of communication use using the speaking model of Delheims, you could also use ethnography of speaking or communication. So when doing critical or when doing discourse analysis, here are some questions that can help you be guided in doing it correctly. First one, who are these people? So you have to scrutinize who are these people involved in making the discourses. What is going on here? What are these people doing? So you need to study also the context. What kinds of tools or language are they using to do it? So are there certain cultural tools? Are they using online or virtual platforms? Or are they using the word of mouth only? What kinds, are they being successful doing it well? Are there hindrances during the communicative event? So you also need to consider that. Who has more power in the conversation? Is there domination in terms of the conduct of the entire conversation? Is there someone leading the conversation? Are others participating well? Okay, what do the two people want? For example, if it involves a transactional type of communication, you can also analyze that one by looking at the motives of these two people involved. What strategies are they using to get what they want? And if in case it has something to do with arguments, which can also be one interesting topic, okay, or aspect for analysis, you may also ask who wins. Okay, so these are just some of the questions that can guide you in analyzing discourses correctly. So as what I mentioned, there are different approaches to discourse analysis. And first one, you have the ethnography of communication. Communication is a matter of cultural competence. So you look at the different characteristics of communication. You focus on things like setting, participants, the speaking model of Delheim. So you use that one. What are some of the rules for complaining to your superior? That's an example. And then you also have genre analysis, wherein your focus is more on communication as using the generic conventions of the discourse community. For example, the jargons used in research writing. You can use that one as an example in analyzing discourses. So your focus here is in the structure of the interaction. How is it written? How is it structured? That's genre analysis. Next one is pragmatics, communication as doing things with words. You're looking at sentence meaning versus speaker meaning. So for example, this is the actual intended meaning of the sentence, but the speaker delivers it the other way around. So that's the concern of pragmatics. Another one is politeness theory, which may also fall under pragmatics or social pragmatics. Communication is a way of encoding social relationships. This involves face-threatening acts or face-saving strategies. For example, when you are embarrassed in front of the public, how do you save your face? Okay? Or how do you deliver an utterance or a discourse towards another person without harming your reputation? That's part of politeness theory. As what I mentioned, if it involves communication as a joint activity or conversation, then you can also conduct conversational analysis. The attention is focused to the sequential organization of talk, turn-taking, and topic management. We also have interactional social linguistics. Communication as a way of signaling social activities and social identities. For example, how is discourse used in the public market? And compare it with how discourses are used in a hospital. How are discourses used in the church? Compare it with how discourses are used in public transportation. That could be part of interactional social linguistics. Another one is CDA, or critical discourse analysis. Communication is a way of exercising and resisting power. So if it has something to do with power, ideologies, changing the mentality of the hearers, the listeners, or the readers, that's part of critical discourse analysis. And then, if it involves multimodal texts already, different semiotic systems, you conduct multimodal discourse analysis. Its communication is a matter of combining multiple modes or semiotic systems. So your focus could be in various verbal and non-verbal aspects of the multimodal text. You also have mediated discourse analysis. Communication is a tool for taking action. So for example, how is communication used in the online platform? That's the concern of computer-mediated discourse analysis. Okay? So there are different sample studies that I'd like to show. I'll upload some samples of this to our LMS so that you'll have an idea on how discourse analysis could be conducted. And just to summarize everything, I'd like to give you a conclusion by pointing out the characteristics of communication in relation to discourse. Communication is not just a matter of words. So when you talk about communication, it doesn't involve words alone. You have to understand the meaning as well. Communication is a matter of action. How you say it, the delivery, and how you intend the readers or the listeners to react to how you said it. Okay? Third one, communication is a matter of relationship and power. Whether we admit it or not, there are really propaganda or ideologies behind our discourses. So it has something to do with relationships and power establishments. And lastly, communication creates and recreates our social worlds. You know why? Because in communication, we create relationships. And we recreate these relationships the more we use discourses around us. So guys, I hope you have understood my discussion on introduction to discourse and discourse analysis. Now, if you have questions, can you post them on the open forum, and I would gladly answer each one of them. Thank you very much for listening.